We've been saying to you for a while, have you been listening to us for a while? That you create your own reality. Those words were coined by Jane Roberts. She was receiving Seth. You create your own reality. And Jerry said, that's good. How? Because you all like the idea of being in control of your own reality, but how is it that it happens? And the answer to that is, you are emitting a vibrational signal that for the most part you're not yet in control of. So you're not really creating your own reality on purpose. You're creating your own reality because you're just observing things and offering a vibration and then getting more. That's how law of attraction works. So when you are looking at something wanted, you are including it in your vibration. When you say yes to it, you're including it in your vibration. When you talk about why you want it, you're including what you want in your vibration. You're finding resonance with that, and the source within you will join you in that fully. But when you're talking about what you don't want, you're finding resonance with that. There's no exclusion in this attraction-based universe. So when you say, no, I do not want that, you are a vibrational match to the very thing that you do not want. And the negative emotion that you feel is letting you know. There's discord within you because you're lining up with what you don't want. Law of attraction's bringing you more and more of what you don't want, you say. So we want to talk to you about vibration. Are you at the point that you can stand hearing about it? You are vibrational beings. And now that you are willing and comfortable with talking about vibration, we want to remind you that vibration is everything, and that law of attraction is the engine behind it. So when you give your attention to something, wanted or unwanted, for as little as 17 seconds, another thought like that joins it, and momentum is on the way. Do it for another 17 seconds, and there's more momentum, and another 17 seconds, and there's more momentum. You cross the 68-second mark, and there is a lot of momentum, enough that you are having a manifestation of emotion within you. A manifestation of emotion. Don't you think it's fair to call emotion a manifestation? Since you feel it. It's visceral. You can really feel it. You can feel it. Esther knows she's in the wrong movie when she's got her jacket over her head. Emotion, you see. So, as you begin to realize that you have this guidance within you that's letting you know, and this is really the subject of this day that we most want to help you to feel and know, because it is the subject at this part of your evolution that will serve you the most. We want you to teach yourself about the momentum of thought, because thought is a very powerful thing. And thought that is in alignment with the source within you is more powerful than we have a reasonable way of explaining to you. Every thought is powerful. When you find resonance with unwanted things, you pinch yourself off from your source. You disallow the goodness that is your true trajectory, and that's why it feels so rotten while it's happening to you. But compared to resonance with source, dissonance with source is not that powerful. When you find a way to hook up with this energy of source, and you practice yourself into a chronic experience of that, you will begin witnessing universal forces and what humans call coincidences and luck and chance. You'll then begin to discover that things are really working out for you. There's a leverage in alignment that just is not available to you in any other way. So as we've been visiting with you for a long time, we told you that you create your own reality. And then we said your thoughts are very attractive. And then we said it's important for you to pay attention to what you're thinking about. And then we said to you, when you know what you don't want, you always know what you do want. So why not begin thinking about what I do want part of it rather than what I don't want part of it? And you said, Abraham, go away. I don't want to listen to you anymore. Because while in theory that is nice to think about, in practicality it's not the easiest thing to do if there's plenty of momentum going. If you've been practicing a thought, that's what a belief is. A belief is just a thought you keep thinking. So by the time you've thought something long enough that you believe it, and after all, why do you believe it? You're not dummies. Why do you believe it? You're not believing it because it hasn't proven itself to you. In fact, the opposite is true. You believe it because it has proven itself to you. Esther argued with us, Abraham, but it's true. It's true. Why would you tell me not to think about that thing that is true? And we say there are a lot of things that are true that you want, and there are a lot of things that are true that you don't want. We'd pick between them, just like the food buffet. We would choose between them. So, as we visit with you here today, we want to talk about this momentum, and we want to bring you to the place of really understanding that when you are in vibrational alignment with who you really are, when you've practiced yourself into that vibrational frequency so that you are predominantly there, that's when you actually begin to live your life in the powerful, co-creative way that you've intended. That's when true life begins for you in the way that you planned. That's when you really get on the trajectory that you intended when you made the decision to come here to begin with. So, over time, we said to you, you create your own reality and you get what you think about whether you want it or not. And then we began to explain to you that when you know what you don't want, you launch a vibrational rocket of what you do want. Now, that was never a very satisfying conversation for you, because we're talking about rockets that you can't really see, going into what we began to describe as the vortex. Oh, that was fun. The vortex of creation. It was such a good concept, such a good way of explaining to you. We wrote a whole book about your vortex, saying to you, get into your vortex, get into your vortex. Because when you've launched a rocket about what you want, and you've done it and done it and done it and done it and done it, there is a reality, a vibrational reality that is ready to reveal itself to you in full manifestational form, but you've got to be a vibrational match to what you're asking for. If you're asking for more money, you can't feel not enoughness and realize the money that you've got lined up for yourself. You see how that works? So we began talking to you about this vortex of creation, and many of you resonated with it. You got the idea of it, that there is a vibrational reality that is in place before there is a manifested reality. But it's hard for you to make that jump in most cases because you are so accustomed to translating things visually and auditorially and with your nose and your fingertips and your tongue. You're so good at that when we talk about a vibrational reality that you cannot see and that you cannot hear and that you cannot smell or taste or touch, it wasn't as real as you wanted it to be. And then we began to explain, but you can feel your way into it. When you're happy, you're there. When you feel elation, you're a vibrational match to what's in there. And if you can keep it up, if you can keep the momentum going in the direction of what you want long enough, and it's not that long, if you can hold yourself in vibrational steadiness with who you really are and what you really want, a momentum will ensue that will be realized by you in full manifestational form, so that in time, everyone around you will be able to witness the manifestation that has moved from the vibrational reality into what you want to call reality. You don't want to call it reality until you can sleep with it or spend it or eat it or live in it or drive it. In other words, we get it. You want it to be about your spaces and faces and places. We get that. But we want you to understand, we've said this to you for so many years, on so many occasions, that everything that everybody wants, no matter what it is, whether it's a material object or a relationship or a state of being or a pile of money, a circumstance, an event, everything that everybody wants is for the singular reason that you believe you will feel better in the having of it. And we want to remind you here today that not only will you feel better in the having of it, we can't even find words to explain to you how glorious clarity is, how wonderful it is to be chronically connected to this stream of well-being. So now we have another way of explaining it to you. So the vortex, which is the vibrational reality, which some of it you're allowing yourself to live and some of it not. This vortex has enough in it to keep you busy for 20 or 30 lifetimes. So if you can relax and expect good things to come to you, then more of the things that you've defined begin to flow specifically into your experience. It's such a nice thing. So we began describing to you that you've got to prepare yourself for the content of the vortex to reveal itself to you. You got to be on the same vibrational wavelength. If you set your radio dial on 101 and expect to hear something that's being broadcast from 98, you don't hear it, do you? The frequencies have to match up. So your vortex is set on a high frequency. If you set yourself on a lower frequency because you're mad at that guy or irritated about that or disappointed about that or lonely about that, you have lots of reasonable excuses. We just don't think that you should argue for them so much. So as you hold yourself in vibrational difference from the vibration that is in your vortex, then you disallow yourself the full manifestation of it. So we began talking about your point of attraction. What is your point of attraction? What is your right now, in this moment, in every moment, relationship with what you've created, with what's actually in the vortex? Well, you can tell by the way you feel what your relationship is, but you can also tell by how things are turning out for you. So we began describing this vibrational grid. It's like a vibrational state of being that will fill in with all of the details. It's like the framework of a house. First, the framework goes up, and then eventually they put the roof on and the walls go in, and more detail comes to it. But initially, there's a sort of a grid-like structure, and we want you to be aware that you've got this grid-like structure going on all the time that you have control over, that most of you have not been exercising your control as much as you can, or even hardly at all, because you've been observers of things rather than determined that you're going to prepare a grid, a point of attraction that matches what's in your vortex. So as we began describing this point of attraction, this grid, reminding you that your emotions are your indicator of really where your grid is. So if you recall the conversations that we've had about the emotional scale, where there is despair or powerlessness, and there is revenge, and there is frustration, and there's hopefulness, and then there's love and eagerness and all of those things that feel so good, appreciation. So this emotional scale, we want you to now superimpose over this emotional scale of not feeling good to feeling really good, these spinning discs, your point of attraction. So Esther began thinking to herself, what disc am I on? She'd say to someone, I'm on the ornery disc, so you might want to stay away. But the truth of it is, no one can stay away because the law of attraction is so powerful, especially if there's momentum going. So what really happened is, even though Esther said, stay away, I'm ornery, really what happened, other ornery people joined her on her disc. And then when they would get there, she would say, you're really ornery, I really don't like you being here. And they would say to her, well, you're ornery too. I really don't like you being here. But here we are, ornery together, just like law of attraction says that we must be. So if you really want to know what disc you're on, just look around. If there are ornery people around you, that's your disc. Because they're not getting on otherwise, you see. They cannot defy law of attraction and jump on, oh yeah, I was on a high-flying disc. I was doing so good. I was just soaring, and then you showed up. No, that's not really what happened. No, I was worried about you showing up. I remember the last time you showed up. I was tensing against you showing up. I was remembering how much I didn't want you to show up. I was shouting, no, don't show up. And then you showed up. That's really how it happened. In other words, law of attraction is a very powerful thing, you see. And so Esther started having fun with these discs. She said, Abraham, it's like the 7 dwarves. There's the happy disc, the grumpy disc, the passive-aggressive disc. She's up to about 200 dwarfs now as she's finding all kinds of places in this range of emotions. But so we want to call your attention to your point of attraction. That's really what we want to talk about. Because if you will take it upon yourself as your conscious responsibility to choose the disc that you're on and then stay there deliberately by thinking about things that make it easier and easier for you to stay there, then you're going to start rendezvousing with more and more that makes it easier to stay there until you will have a momentum going that will keep you chronically, usually, often, most often, on this high-flying disc. It's really, really wonderful to be on the high-flying disc, tuned in, tapped in, turned on, feeling clarity and passion and love and appreciation. Your view of the world from the high-flying disc is the view of the world that the source within you holds. That's who you're rendezvousing when you rendezvous on this high-flying disc. You're rendezvousing with source, and that's why you're so clear. That's why you're so funny. That's why you're so knowledgeable. That's why you feel so good. That's why you have so much vitality. That's why you feel tuned in, tapped in, turned on, because you are.